whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, Gavin.Richards1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel GBoot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. I'm attorney Gavin Richard. I grew up here in. This has been a lifelong passion of mine. If you've been injured in an accident, you may be out of work and faced with large medical bills. You'll need someone to fight the insurance companies so that you can get on with your life. Give me a call at 504-799-2288 and I'll be with you all the way. The law offices of Gavin M. Richard, going the distance so that justice may be served. Wherever you are, hope you are blessed and being safe. And know your eyes are not deceiving you. That is Shawn James, and usually we're on Thursday nights, but tonight we're doing a little special. So it is Random Topic Tuesdays here on channel GBoot2786, on Facebook at Gavin Richard, and on my backup channel, Gavin Richard, here on YouTube. Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and being safe. Tonight on our show, we will be discussing Ernest Johnson, a 61-year-old handicapped man set to be executed tonight. We'll also be discussing when cooning goes wrong. We'll also be talking about the FBI raiding a New York City police union. Also, we'll be talking about how the House of Representatives approved the $6.3 billion bill in Afghan relief, and some other interesting news. Of course, the man on the right of the screen, you guys know him. He is the author of the book, The Man Crisis, as well as John Haynes, The Man with Nothing to Lose, the ISIS series, as well as The Woman Crisis, which is up and coming, will be out next year. Please welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, Brother Shawn James. Shawn, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You guys can check out and to support Shawn, buy his books, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess and John Haynes, Taking Care of Business, which are all available on Amazon.com. And if you want to support me, I ask you to do the following. If you could, I would like for you to check out our seasoning company, Nawny'sCreoleBlends.com, Nawny'sCreoleBlends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nawny's goes great with every dish. Also, I'd like for you to please check out my latest single, which is available on Spotify as well as iTunes, called Video Soul. If you would please go ahead and purchase that, that would be great. And of course, every time we're on this channel, we got to get on up. So if you're interested in getting that song, you can. But Gordon, no, it is not. It is usually on a Thursday, but we're doing something tonight because Thursday I'll be busy that evening. So Shawn is joining me. So that's why you see him here. But this is Random Topic Tuesdays tonight. So Shawn is joining me for a special, and I'm grateful that he's here. But you guys sit tight and relax. I'll bring Shawn back into the show with us. And what we'll do next, of course, was time to get on up. So you guys check out the tunes, and we'll be right back.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, because on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
And move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Baby, yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up. Baby,
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Okay, feel the groove, get on the floor, gotta get on up. Thank you all for joining me. It is another Random Topic Tuesdays. Of course, we do, but we're making it like feel like a Thursday night because Shawn James is here. Shawn, good evening once again, my brother and friend. We got a couple of people. Shawn's muted. We got a couple of people in the chat. Shout out to Butterfly70, Byron B, S Mount, Lamiko, Tylene, Derek Bailey, Cheryl Macy, Bookie, the realist out here, Knight Rider, and Gordon. Shout out to you all. Who else we got here? I think on Facebook we got Computer Robots is here, Shawn.
I'm glad to see him.
Yeah, he's always here. Thank you, Computer Robots, for tuning in. So we shall get started, man. Shawn, in the meantime, do you want to promote something? You have
I have my 2 newest books in hand. I have the books Stop Simping in Cyberspace, which is now available in paperback for purchase right now and is all free order for Kindle. And I have my new East series book, East Canceled Vacation, which will be available this November. It is available for pre-order right now. So both of these books just came from the printer, and they're available for you guys to go out here and purchase in paperback, and you can pre-order them on Kindle today.
All right, y'all heard them. Pre-order those books on Kindle right now for purchase. You can go to Amazon.com and get all of Shawn James' works. He's working on the woman crisis as well, and can't wait. Looking forward to that. Shawn, how much further? Just curious on the woman's crisis. Do you think it'll be available by?
It'll be available by maybe, I'd say, I'm trying to work for spring 2022, but it may be fall 2022 because it's a lot of information I've got to put down. I'm just getting the thesis broken down. I mean, I'm like 1/3 of the way on this thesis because I want the thesis to be very accurate, like it was for the man crisis, and there's a lot to break down for this book.
Yes. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And also, guys, I can tell you about the book that I've written. You guys have seen this already, but I'm going to show it to people that haven't. This is the book that I've completed and doing some final editing on it. It is The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. I can tell you this took a lot of work to put in, as Shawn knows, and I will should have this out by the fall of this year. So I have some good news on that. Just trying to clear things from my editing and legal department. But other than that, we're good. You guys can check that out. I can't wait for that to drop. That'll be on Amazon as well. So, and Shawn, of course, Shawn has been actually helping me with it, and I thank him for the work that he's done. This has been editing. Shawn, just tell everybody, if you could, what you think of it so far.
It's a very, very solid, well-crafted book. Presents a very solid argument as related to how due process has fallen completely apart in this country, and really lays out all the evidence as related to why this whole case railroaded Mr. Cosby, and he was not given due process under the law.
That's right. Very easy read. I'm looking forward to it. I know some people have asked Gavin, let me know when it's available. I can tell you it should be available by the fall of this year. So fall of 2020. I'll have a definitive date for you, and I'll also have a trailer coming soon. So I'm putting the final touches on that as well. But the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. is coming soon to a Kindle near you. So, yeah. Let me get a sip of some water. Oh, by the way, shout out to Bill Waco on that cover, man. Bill Waco.
Bill Walko.
Bill Walco. Excuse me, Bill Walco. Bill Walco. Thank you, Shawn. Did that book cover for me, and I know Shawn. He's done some of Shawn's book covers as well. So he's a great graphic designer and artiste. So I thank him again for that one. So Shawn, let us begin, shall we? I guess to get this started. We're going to be talking tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I want to get Shawn's thoughts about this. The FBI raids the New York City Police Union. Now, I don't know if anybody has heard about this, but this came earlier today, courtesy of NBC News. It was reported that the 5th largest police union in the United States, which is in New York City, was raided by the FBI. This is coming from NBC News. The FBI on Tuesday raided the Manhattan offices of the New York City Police Union, and several hours later, 2 agents left the building with cardboard evidence boxes in their arms. Armed with a warrant, the agents conducted a search in the headquarters of Sergeants Benevolent Association that represents 13,000 active and retired New York City Police Department sergeants and is the 5th biggest police union in the country. So simultaneously, FBI agents searched a home in Long Island suburb of Port Washington, New York. An FBI spokesperson said it belongs to the SBA's outspoken leader, Ed Mullins, sources told NBC News. There's no clear information as to why the FBI targeted the SBA Mullins' home, but the spokesperson told the New York Daily News the agency was carrying out a law enforcement action in connection with an ongoing investigation. So, members of the Public Corruption Unit in the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York were also involved in the raid. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio said he was aware of the FBI raid but shed no light on the surprise raid of the SBA. We're going to go for a video courtesy of NBC News. Again, this is being shared under the Fair Use Doctrine of the Copyright Act of 1976 for education, commentary, and news purposes only. So, without further ado, why don't we play that? And you guys, my mod, please put that disclaimer in the chat box for me, please, so we don't get hit with a copyright strike.
To reporters, uncharacteristic behavior for the normally outspoken NYPD union leader. Mullins is the head of the Sergeants Benevolent Association. Tonight, he finds himself the target of a federal investigation. Today, at least 8 FBI agents searched the lower Manhattan headquarters of the SBA, removing boxes of evidence after spending several hours inside. They also searched Mullins' Port Washington home at daybreak.
I firmly believe, as the men and women in the NYPD,
Mullins is known for clashing with city officials. He's in the middle of department disciplinary hearings for tweeting NYPD arrest papers of Mayor Bill de Blasio's daughter during the George Floyd protests.
The fact that this search warrant was executed by the FBI says that whatever prompted the belief that crimes had been committed occurred at the federal level and is not related to local politics.
While the FBI would not elaborate on the investigation, former federal investigator Wason Dunn believes Mullins is the target.
To get a search warrant, you have to be able to articulate what specific crimes you think have occurred. And then more importantly, you have to be able to articulate why you believe that the place to be searched has evidence of those crimes.
Okay.
Hey there.
No, I don't care for you. Let's get out of here. Actually, I'll close that. All right, Shawn, what do you think of that story, just from reading it, your thoughts, because you're out there in New York. I don't know if you're familiar with the area per se.
No, I don't really know much about the NYPD, but all I know is that looks like the left side is going after the right side, and that's what it looks like going here. It looks like the left side, white supremacy, is going after the right side because they are having issues with the other side, and this is their way of getting back at the right side. But it's like both sides are dirty and both sides don't really care about black people. And the whole thing is that this is an internal fight between your left side of white supremacy versus your right side of white supremacy. And they're both trying, it's like Bill de Blasio doesn't like the police department, and he probably had, and now they're going after him on the federal level because these are enemies. And, the left over there, they don't really like the police officers and the police unions and stuff like that. So this is their way of trying to unnerve them, make them a little uneasy. But all this is just a feud between these two sides, and this is just the way they operate.
I should mention this: police unions, as you know, Shawn, are very powerful.
Yeah,
they influence elections, local elections, and like I said, that's from that article. This is the 5th largest union in the United States.
but this isn't. The whole thing is that this is just going to make their guys come out and vote on the right even far further, because they already don't trust the left anyway. And the whole thing is, all this is going to do is make Joe Biden's limited majority get even worse next year, because all of this polarizing and all of this stuff, it makes these guys more eager to go out and go to the polls.
Did you say, I may have missed it, but did you say Bill de Blasio is being investigated?
No, he's not being investigated. I'm saying that his daughter was targeted by these police officers a while back, and this could be a way of them getting back at that police union.
Well, I don't know if the mayor has power to.
No, but they know people. The Democrats work together oftentimes.
Well, yeah, I don't doubt that they work people. Sure, certainly they work people over in they know people that are over in the Southern District. But I know this about the feds. They only go after you for 2 reasons. Number one, they got something on you, or number two, there's a political agenda.
And that's what it looks like to me, an agenda.
Right. It's a political or racial. It's a political agenda or a racial agenda. What, when I say political, that's how it is. It's like there's an agenda with that. Edek said, "Well, shout out to Edek." He says, "Do any of you all think R. Kelly is talking to feds about other celebs and are their possible involvement with minors? And their possible involvement with minors." I've heard this. I know that it's been making rounds around the internet that R. Kelly supposedly is talking to, going to drop dimes on other people's dirt, other people's skeletons in their closet. I've been hearing that. Who knows? Uh, what I would say if I was R. Kelly, well, if I was R. Kelly's lawyer, uh, I would be prepping. Number one, I would tell him not to talk to the media or anyone. I don't think he's talking to the media, but I would certainly look at the possibility of or certainly getting his grounds for appeal together based off what I've been reading, hearing how this trial took place. Uh, I'm hoping they've got to appeal that case, but on the other side of it, can they be actually going after? Could he be dropping dimes on people? Yeah, he could, but they got a conviction already. Are they going to lessen his sentence for that? What other celebrities does he know? I mean, the thing is, they try to make it look like this is not me defending what R. Kelly is accused of. And I got to put a disclaimer because we have people who think when you're offering a fair and balanced perspective on the case, they want to accuse you of being a child, a rape apologist, supporter of a child molester, and all of these things. When first off, R. Kelly was not convicted on those charges, Shawn. Those are
Wait, what?
charges. He was convicted on violation of the Mann Act and racketeering, which was a complete overcharge in my legal opinion. Because unlike you Facebook lawyers out there, I actually went and got a degree from an accredited law school and spent 3 years of my life studying law and another 4 or 5 months preparing for, well, less than that, excuse me, 3 months preparing for the state bar exam. Because you got to pass your bar exam before you become and sit and be a lawyer. You get a JD first, but then you got to get your bar license. And from my perspective, and even you don't have to be a lawyer to see that the things that they allowed in that trial, just from me looking at it and listening to the transcript, reading the transcripts, because shout out to infamous Sylvia and a couple of I can't think of a couple other YouTubers. If I'm forgetting your names, excuse me, but they actually did a mock trial, reading the transcripts and listening to that opened my eyes a little bit more to what was going on in this case. Shout out to DJ Tyson. You know, that whole case, and I didn't want to talk about R. Kelly tonight, but that whole case it seems like they overcharged him and railroaded him, even though he's a scumbag. People can be scumbags. People can be bad guys, but the question is, did they break this law in particular? And to charge him with the Mann Act when one of the accusers didn't even leave the country, didn't leave the state with R. Kelly, that was a problem. Allowing that in there. Forgive me if I forgot your name, ma'am. I believe it was Deronda Pace, if I'm not mistaken. She never left the state. So how does she get charged? So how does R. Kelly get charged with 9 counts of violating the Mann Act, and she's one of the victims?
It doesn't fit the criteria for the charge. Yeah.
Right. And you have to charge me with that. So he has grounds for appeal, but do I think he could drop down? Well, I'm gonna say this: he better watch his back.
Yeah.
Because if he's got names on celebrities, it's just like Epstein.
Just like Epstein or Heidi Fleiss, especially Epstein. He's
because it's in New York.
Yeah.
Same. It was in federal court, right?
Yeah.
He was charged in federal court with sex trafficking. I don't even think he got hit with the Mann Act, if I'm not mistaken. He wasn't charged. I think it was. I don't know exactly what he was charged with, but whatever happened, he never even went to trial because He gets found dead
Yep. And
by
everybody,
suicide. Yeah,
yeah, and everybody who comes out and speaks out against this kind of stuff usually winds up dead.
right. So yeah, he was killed. Yeah, he was cured. He was charged with procuring an underage girl for prostitution and sex trafficking. So those were his, and it was a federal charge. And it was in the Southern District, actually, of New York. R. Kelly is in the Eastern District. So we got the Southern District here with Epstein. He was charged with trafficking, but he wasn't charged under the Mann Act.
And
And
he could have easily been charged under the Mann Act, but notice he wasn't.
right. Well, that Mann Act, they used it for what type of people, Shawn?
Black heterosexual men.
And who was the first one charged under it?
Jack Johnson,
And what did Jack Johnson hold?
World Heavyweight Championship.
No, he held a white woman.
Oh, he had a white woman. Yeah, he had a white woman and the world title.
He had 2-for-1. And they did not like that. You know who else they got under that too? Chuck Berry.
Yep.
So, you know, he's got grounds for appeal that he better watch out about dropping names. But you know, if they gonna would I take if I was his lawyer, if they were gonna grant him some type of immunity or release from jail, the only problem with that is they already got the conviction on him. So even if he drops a dime, he has nothing really to weigh at this point, unless it's somebody big, a bigger fish. But who at this point?
I mean, it would have to be somebody either big in government or one of these Hollywood executives.
Big
I
in
mean,
government, yeah.
and it would have to be huge in order to get him out from under it.
But then if it's somebody big in government, they may not let him live to tell.
Nope. So he doesn't have much road to run on.
Right.
And he doesn't have that much pull. I mean, if Epstein, with all his pull, wound up dead, chances are R. Kelly may wind up dead too.
Yeah. We'll keep y'all monitored on this case. But yeah, Epstein had the complexion for the protection. He had the color for the cover. But not really. They got him. They took his ass out. All right, some more serious news. Sadly, we're here to report Ernest Johnson is set to be executed tonight. Now, those that may not know this story, this is coming again from NBC News. It's been reported. It's been reported that this man you see at your screen, Ernest Johnson, is set to be executed by the by the governor of Missouri, Mike Parson, who denied Johnson clemency, and the state would carry out the execution. There have been claims, this is in spite of claims by his attorney and death penalty opponents that he had the intellect of a child. He has an intellectual disability, and killing him violated the Constitution. Obviously, the Eighth Amendment of the Constitution, cruel and unusual punishment. Johnson, who's 61, was convicted in the murder of 3 convenience store employees almost 3 decades ago and was executed by lethal injection at a state prison in Bon-Terre. He was pronounced dead at 6:11, so this just happened, sadly. At 6:11 p.m. local time, a spokeswoman for the State Department of Corrections said, Pope Francis, 2 members of Congress, and former Democratic Governor Bob Holden were among those who spoke out against the execution. In a filing to the High Court on Tuesday, Johnson's legal team reiterated that his IQ test had indicated that he had the intellectual capacity of a child and wrote that there would be no tangible harm if his execution was delayed, while questions over whether lower courts had constitutionally considered his disability were further explored. This court has said states simply cannot execute the intellectually disabled, Johnson's attorney wrote, referring to a 2002 Supreme Court ruling. That case that they're referring to is Atkins versus Virginia. Just so you all know. Johnson's execution was the first by Missouri prison officials since May of 2020, as the pandemic put a hold on state's death chamber operations before Texas jump-started the practice this year. Four relatives of the three people Johnson killed in 1994 were present, the spokeswoman said. A media witness said that Johnson's breathing became labored, but there were no visible signs of distress. Among Johnson's supporters were Democratic U.S. Representatives Cori Bush and Manuel Cleaver, who urged Parson to reconsider his position. Of course, we know Congresswoman Cori Bush is out of Missouri, and I don't care. She's part of that far left BLM agenda that they push, that they've been pushing up in Missouri. But I gotta agree with them on this in regards to Mr. Johnson, and I'm sorry, I'm just hearing about this today. But if indeed he had, if he is mentally incapacitated, if he suffers from a disability, I believe they should have delayed it, but that did not happen, sadly. Uh, sadly, in this case, uh, Shawn, do you have any thoughts on this?
I'm deeply saddened by the execution of this disabled man, and it really disturbs me because this is cruel and unusual punishment, and it's just cruel to take a mentally disabled man and just take his life, and when he's not capable of committing this kind of crime. I mean, this is a failure of our criminal justice system, a complete travesty of justice that this mentally disabled man was put on trial for this type of crime. And it just shows there's just really poor, shoddy police work. And the fact that this went through the criminal justice system is absolutely egregious. It disturbs me to the core of my soul to see that this mentally disabled man lost his life all because some bureaucrats don't really care about getting justice. And I believe this is partially racial because if this were a white disabled man, there would be an effort to not go out here and execute a white man. But because this is a black man, they just don't see him as a human being, and they just let him slip through the cracks and let him fall through like this. And again, this just shows a complete failure of our American legal system, a failure of our courts, and it's just an embarrassment to our country.
Yes, it is. I think the movie you're referring to, I see Byron B said this reminds me of the movie The Dummy. Uh,
Yeah,
I believe is you talk about the LeVar Burton movie?
yeah, the LeVar Burton movie, Dummy.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that was actually based on a true story, if I'm not mistaken. LeVar Burton played Donald Lang, who was a African American who was born deaf. But here we have someone, yeah. I've never seen that. I'm just actually researching what he was talking about. But here we have a situation. This man is mentally handicapped, and he was still executed.
I mean, if he's mentally handicapped, there's no way he could have committed three murders. It's just not possible. Mentally disabled individuals they're not capable of
They're
doing
not
these kind of
capable of
things.
thinking. Yeah, if his IQ is below a certain level, as like the mind of a child, then they can't determine. How do they determine what's right and what's wrong? In our states, a child is held from criminal liability until they reach the age of 10. Once after the age of 10, that's something different. But when you're 10 years old, you have no knowledge of when you're 10 years old and younger, you have no knowledge of what's right or wrong. Your conscience is still developing. So this was pathetic. Y'all got to get out there. Whoever the governor of Missouri, and I got family out there in Missouri, Mike Parson, that's the governor. You're a piece of shit. I'm just going to say it. You killed a handicapped man.
I mean, that's just sick.
He had the intellectual capacity, according to his legal team, the IQ test indicated that he had the intellectual capacity of a child. And all they were asking for was a stay of execution. Do more research. I know I'll come on here and try and be professional. Sometimes I lose it, but that disgusts me. Punk ass bitch. Rest in peace, Mr. Johnson, wherever you are.
You know, it's the kind of stuff God punishes people for.
Yeah. Yeah, the worst thing you could do. And me, Shawn, I have mixed feelings about the death penalty because I know I certainly believe there should be revisions to it. Uh, I know people who, well, I don't know people that are on death row, but I know of stories. We know the history of how Black Americans are treated in this country, especially in our justice system, where they're not given a fair trial and they're overcharged, as we've discussed with Bill Cosby and things of that nature. The youngest person ever executed in the United States was George Steinme Jr., and this was before Emmett Till, and he was executed because they believed he killed two white girls, and he was just only in the area. But he was prosecuted at the age of 14 years old. He didn't have adequate counsel. His counsel never called witnesses on his behalf, and he did not even cross-examine some witnesses. I believe his lawyer was an insurance lawyer. He was not a criminal defense lawyer. They had an all-white jury on there, and they convicted him, and he was sentenced to death, to the electric chair, at 14 years old.
And they would not have done that to a white person of the same age.
And what made it worse is that the courts overturned his conviction after his death, and they realized he didn't get a fair trial, obviously. But do you know that the members of the family still believe he did it?
They're insane.
They were up. Do you know that they still think the verdict should have stood?
Yeah.
Well, we know he didn't get a fair trial, but he did it. Didn't matter. He didn't get a fair trial.
It just shows you how insane some of these racists are.
So I know the history of the death penalty, and I think there should be revisions to it. I think that you need to come up with eyewitnesses that actually see the person do it. They need to have DNA evidence that's present that links them there. I don't know about abolishing it in its entirety, although, as a Christian, as somebody that professes to believe in God, I do believe life is sacred. But I also believe in justice. Do I think it would be justice if, for instance, Adolf Hitler just got life in prison for killing 6 million people, or what those two men did to Emmett Till in his murder and kidnapping. That's evil. All those things are evil. So I I don't know if I would just be satisfied with them sitting in prison. And there are some people who don't need to see the light of day. There's some people that are beyond, and you know this, Shawn, there's some people beyond saving. But I certainly believe in revisions to it. And, situations like this should not have happened. If this man is proven to be incompetent and doesn't know the difference between the right or wrong, he should not have been sentenced to death. He should have been in a mental institution.
Yeah, this just sounds like another one of those cases, the way they just go find any black person just so they can clear cases. This is something that's still done to this day by prosecutors and and some rogue police officers. I'm not going to say police officers, I'll say rogue police officers. They just want to clear cases so they can make their numbers. So they just find any random black person, charge them with the crime, and then clear the cases. Meanwhile, the real killers are just still out there wreaking havoc.
I want you all to look at this case. I'm putting it in the comment section, and I'm going to post it. What's up, Janesta? Hi, Stephanie D. This is the actual case of Atkins versus Virginia. What's going on, Bishop Scott? How you doing, my friend? Y'all can go check this out. This is the actual case that the lawyers were referring to. It is about the mentally handicapped and the death penalty. And you should pick up the Constitution. The Constitution is free, by the way. You get those pamphlets. You know, you can get those things online and look at it. You can look at it on Wikipedia. It's free. You can look at it. Keep one in your pocket. A little pamphlet, Constitution booklet. It's fun reading, and you learn why we have rules and regulations, why we have the Bill of Rights, the amendments. It is to protect us from government. And sadly, government struck a blow in this one. So rest in peace, sir. All right. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you like what you hear, ladies and gentlemen. I guess I could use some lighter news, Shawn. Let's do that. Earlier, as I was coming on, Shawn and I were talking, and I noticed this in my on Twitter. And no, it's not Taylor Rocks, but Lord, she's fine. I noticed this. Shout out to Torian Rain, because Torian put this up. This, ladies and gentlemen, is your new porn. This is porn. Now I didn't put a banner underneath this, but y'all look at this crap. This is coming. This is coming out. Shout out to Tori Ray for putting this in. But this is Playboy magazine's Bretman Rock makes history as the first openly gay man on a Playboy cover. All right. So now let me say this. I learned, and I'm prefacing my comments because I don't want to be banned, but I learned, if you guys know this, there's a magazine called Playgirl, because under the Playboy enterprise that Hugh Hefner started, he created Playboy, but then subsequently, because there were some females complaining why we don't get this treatment, he creates Playgirl, right, Shawn?
Yeah.
And they put men on the cover. And I remember, and how I remember this was back in the 90s. I remember when Shawn Michaels, the WWF heavyweight champion, because I was a big wrestling fan, still am back then. Shawn Michaels was on the cover of Playgirl, and Bret Hart and a lot of other guys in the WWE were making fun of Shawn because, believe it or not, Playgirl has a huge gay following, more homosexual readers than just about as females that read it. So they made fun of Shawn Michaels back then in the 90s. They couldn't do that now. But who knows, Byron? Hugh Hefner probably could have been experimenting with stuff like that. Who knows what went on in that Playboy mansion? But yeah, he would be pissed by this, because if you knew anything about Playboy, as you know with Playboy, it has been for the straight heterosexual male, not men on the cover. And you made a man a Playboy buddy. I don't know a straight man that picks up exactly, Stephanie. No straight man picks up a Playboy magazine hoping to see another man's dingus.
No.
Or asshole.
Heterosexual men do not go to Playboy looking for other men.
Darius said, well, at least it's not a black man. Hey, I tell you this much: we could get porn on Twitter for free now, so I don't even read Playboy. Thanks,
Play,
but no thanks. Deuce.
Playboy's days are over. I mean, the internet has made it where you don't even need them anymore. I mean, you can get it on Twitter for free. I mean, it's all over. You can even do a Google search and see naked women for free. You can see
Yeah,
many of your favorite celebrities nude for free. I mean, everything is out there. You don't need to go out here and just call yourself buying Playboy. I mean, when I was in high school, people had to do that because there was no other option, because a lot of curious boys, that was the only way they could see a nude or semi-nude female. But these days with the internet, Playboy has been rendered obsolete. And the reason why Playboy is doing this is because Playboy is extremely desperate. Playboy Enterprises is struggling because in this day and age, this technological age, your Playboy Enterprises, they had to stop making print magazines because no one was buying print magazines anymore. I mean, Playboy magazine at one time was $11, and people balked at it because they could go to the internet for free. So now they're trying to do these attention-seeking stunts to try to pander to these woke audiences. But these woke audiences, they're not interested in buying a Playboy subscription. They're not even concerned about this virtue signaling that they're doing, and it just comes across as extremely desperate from Playboy Enterprises, which has fallen apart since Hugh Hefner's passing. They
yeah,
have walked away from his message. They no longer write cohesive articles anymore. The journalism has really fallen off. Everything about the magazine is not what it used to be. And the centerfolds have, for the last 15 years, have been bland, generic, blonde women. And there's nothing special about the magazine when you consider that adult entertainment has evolved. I mean, people can see models on again Twitter, OnlyFans. I mean, people have so many different options that your Playboy, this gesture, it just comes across as so desperate and so pathetic that everybody can see through it, and we can just see that this is basically the beginning of the end of Playboy Enterprises, because your core audience was heterosexual men. And if you have to go out here and bring a man from a different sexual orientation to try to sell a magazine for heterosexual men, you're practically on your way out.
yeah. This is gross, and I don't think anybody, and I don't think anybody get mad at me for saying that. That's just not something I like. Period. I don't care if you get mad.
Nope.
You know, we live in a nation now where we're endorsing coward culture. People don't
No.
want to speak out against this stuff. Butterflies just said, my mom said when Twiggy modeled for Playboy, women were trying to be sickly looking because she was real skinny. What is this going to do? Well, look, I know who Twiggy is, but Twiggy was ahead of my time. I think she came out in the 70s or early
She came
late.
out in the late 60s.
Well,
And
right. She was a model and singer, right?
yeah, she
Yeah.
kind of came and she kind of went. And then some women were trying to copy her, but then others were like, there were other women came up later on, and people forgot all about Twiggy.
Man, y'all crazy. Yosemite Sam ain't touching that bunny. Darius, you son of a bitch. You.
Mhm.
No, no.
Playboy has gone woke, and it's about to get broke. I mean,
They say they said silly rabbit tricks are for kids, but apparently it's for everybody now. Damn. It's for adults. So tricks is for adults only if you have an XY chromosome.
yep.
Ugh. No. That rabbit we will not be hunting.
Nope.
My dog will not have that bunny in his mouth. I'm trying to think of something else funny. Y'all took the good stuff. Yosemite Sam ain't touching the bunny. Yeah, well, neither is Elmer Fudd. You can have that rabbit. have that wabbit. Yeah, Sports Illustrated started it when they had the transgender, the black trans. It was a black trans, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But no thanks for me. This isn't the Playboy I grew up with in the 80s.
Yeah. The rabbit's tail is going forward. Yeah, this is worse than the Gillette commercials. But then again, nobody buys Playboy like they buy Gillette.
Yeah. But it just shows how beta males in our culture, this is their impact because they promote this type of effeminate man and think that it's perfectly normal, not understanding that these effeminate men, they're not what you can't put them in a heterosexual marketplace and expect to make money. I mean, this is just again virtue signaling to try to show how woke you are and politically correct you are, but all it does is alienate your core audiences because straight men want to see attractive women. They don't want to see some man on the cover of a magazine dressed up like a female. That's not something a straight man.
How many sticks?
I just don't want to see that.
Oh. Take your shit somewhere else. God.
I mean, you can take that over to some of these other gay men's magazines that are out there.
Well, of course they could have done that, but it's Playboy. It's got the name has been around for over 50 plus years.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean what it used to be. Ever since Hefner
No.
died, it's a pale shadow of what it once was.
Now you keep that. Now we keep that in line with what this article says. This is from Heavy. This is a black lawmaker from Pennsylvania named Chris Rabb, and he said a forced sterilization bill for cisgender men was proposed by Mr. Representative Rabb. It would make them get vasectomies. However, it has to be made clear that the posts were satirical and pushed to make a point. And they're doing that in regards to this law in Texas that is banning early abortions. So enforcing reproductive responsibility among men. So this is his tweets. And Rabb's legislation will require all inseminators to undergo vasectomies after their third child or 40th birthday. I mean, these people, here's the thing. These representatives that I find, now the reason why I'm bringing it up, of course, nothing like that would ever pass. And of course, when he uses terms like cisgender, that tells me the agenda that they're pushing and who's behind all of that. But when I look at articles, things like this, and I see these Democratic lawmakers, they're so adamant in enforcing and pushing for LGBTQ, for abortion rights, for women's rights, for immigrants, but never black rights. Never black rights. They get so angry and worked up about abortion, which in truthfulness, and let's just call it how it is, Shawn, abortion actually impacts the black community because it is the number one killer of black males, of black Americans, even surpassing diabetes, surpassing homicides, car accidents. And that's because it affects us disproportionately. And, Planned Parenthood, their chop shops, I'll call them, are put in mostly poor black and brown neighborhoods. And if people did some research, now I'm not here to condemn people who have had it, but I'm being real with you all. You're killing yourself. We're killing ourselves. We can't scream Black Lives Matter and we are killing our children, our futures. My opinion. Now, I know it's a sensitive thing people don't like to get in, but you guys look at the research. Look at that case of Roe versus Wade. Jenna McCorvey, who was Jane Roe, she told the lie that she was actually raped by a group of black men, and that's how they were able to push this. You aware of that, Shawn?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah, it's true. But what a lot of people don't know is that there was a simultaneous case that was tried along with Roe v. Wade called Doe versus Dalton. And with Roe v. Wade, while that made abortion legal, Doe versus Dalton made abortion on demand legal, meaning it could be for any reason. Didn't matter whether if it was from incest or rape, which are very actually they're very those numbers are small in amount to people who just want it as a form of contraception.
Yeah.
But they always use black people to push their crap.
Yeah, they
It's
always use us to push their agendas, and that whole thing is that they use it passively to push their agendas, but aggressively, it's about getting the black population to shrink. And basically, the whole abortion agenda is about trying to depopulate the black community so that there won't be black babies in large numbers, and there won't be black people out here going out here to build wealth and build families, and they want to destroy the whole idea of family in the minds of black Americans. That's primarily what the whole abortion agenda is all about. It's all about making it where black people don't have a choice to go out here and make families. So I look at any sort of agenda, again, it's always about trying to destroy our reproductive rights. It's always about trying to make it where we can't go out here and build families because they fear genetic annihilation.
Well, I would just say this to you all. I mean, these are the same Dems, and I'm not attacking people who've gotten the injection or not. That's a personal choice that they make with their bodies if you choose to get shots, to get injections. But these are the same people who say my body, my choice. They're also the ones that want you to get the injection.
Yeah, they have double standards. They're very hypocritical. They say one thing and then they do another. I mean, they want you to get a jab and they tell you that it's mandated, but then these same people talk about abortion and my body, my choice. I mean, that's what makes people look at the left and say, you know what, your guys are just full of crap. You say that you tolerate things, but it's only the things that you agree with. But when I start to think for myself or start to make decisions for myself, then you have an issue with it. And then you want to try to force your agenda down people's throats. And that's something that only a person does when they know that their argument is flawed. They know that there are holes in their argument. They know that there are faults. They go out here and look to go out here and try to force their way because they know that they are either lying or they know that there's something wrong with their whole talking point. And these leftists, they are unabashed about being wrong, but they just want to continue going on. They remind me so much of the Pharisees and the Sadducees that Jesus talked about in the Bible, how they would go out here and put these heavy burdens on people and then wouldn't lift a single finger. I mean, that's what we have right now going on here in America. We have modern day Pharisees and Sadducees, hypocrites that Jesus would call out. And these people, they sit here and want to put a heavy burden of a jab on American citizens, but they sit there and talk about this whole abortion thing and want to lift all their fingers to lift on that, but then they don't want to go out here and give people the right to make their own choices regarding something that goes in their own bodies.
Right, right. Yes, indeed. They've gotten exposed for that, and even I didn't mention this in the topic. I know we would have a lot to go into. I'm trying to watch it, but did you see what happened? Obviously, with LeBron James and then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's comments.
Yeah, I saw what happened with that, and it was egregious there too. I mean, again, we see the hypocrisy of the left staring us in the face right there. I
What
mean,
happened to Kareem, man? What? This is the same Kareem. This is the same Kareem. Not the same. This maybe not the same, but this is Kareem who actually stood with Muhammad Ali when Ali was refusing to go into Vietnam War. You know, he was part of that summit with Jim Brown and Bill Russell and all of these black uh, sportsmen who were tradition. Who those guys actually stood up. But now you
yeah,
have Kareem, and I don't know. Ever since they gave him the role in Airplane, he's just been flying high. I don't know what. I don't know what's
yeah.
going on. Is it because he's getting older?
I think that he's been given that money and now he's turning into a bootlick because that's what happens to your bootlicks is that they get out here, they get a little bit of money, they get a little favor with these white supremacists, and all of a sudden they start taking on their viewpoints, start taking on their positions, they start supporting them because they are getting their bread butter they're getting their daily bread from the white supremacists, and because they're getting their daily bread from the white supremacists, they start going along to get along. And that's happened to so many black entertainers, so many black musicians, so many black politicians. Once they start getting their daily bread from the white supremacists, they stop thinking about black empowerment and they just start towing the party line.
Yeah. Well, Stephanie D said, I'm not for or against abortion. I just think it's nobody's business, but that woman making a decision for herself. It's multiple reasons why a woman may decide to do it, so others should stay out of it. Well, what about the father having a choice? I mean, it takes two to make one.
Yeah, it does.
Hey, as a parent, as a father, if I found out my girl had killed my baby or had an abortion without me knowing it, I wouldn't like it. If we were in a relationship, I
It
mean,
wouldn't be right.
no,
And
it's not.
and the whole thing is if you two made the choice to have sex, then you should be consulting with that man to decide if he wants to have that child because it's his child partially. I mean, 50-50.
It's 50-50. They didn't realize until, the advent of ultrasounds and the microscopes, everybody thought that uh, the father carried all of the DNA and the woman just carried the baby.
Yeah.
Attached to the baby. But when they looked at it, that's not how it happens with fertilization. It's the woman's egg and the husband's sperm or the man's sperm that collide with each other. And when that sperm out of millions of sperm, other cells, makes it to that egg, once that particular sperm cell makes it into that egg and fertilizes with it, do you know that it closes up and all the other sperms get destroyed or die later? And
Yeah.
then the chromosomes all start to form and together. So it's interesting how God works, the
Yeah.
body works when that happens. So people didn't realize that. And I that's something, like I said, and I see what G. William Bishop Scott says, most civil rights leaders of the survivors movement have since sold out. Oh, no, definitely. And, Jesse Jackson, believe it or not, did y'all know he was pro-life before he ran for president?
Yeah.
He actually started the term I think he was the one that coined the term black genocide. When I've had Pastor Clenard Childress come on this platform before, he told me about it. But when he wanted to run for president, the Democratic Party, they gave him some money and he had to change his views on abortion. Now, something interesting too, and we got to move on right quick, but, all of this stuff is, they honestly are not going to change. Abortion, really and truthfully, will never. I don't think will be banned because it's too much of a billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ultimately, people have to realize it's on the my body, my choice argument that it's your choice to have sex with this individual.
And
And once you make that choice, you have to deal with the consequences of it because,
it's the baby. It's really not your body, your choice, because it's another person's body you're
yeah,
carrying. Most
yeah,
of what I have to say to Stephanie, because I see your comment, but what about the females that get aborted? The female
yeah,
babies, they don't get the choice. Uh, it's more actually, from my information, it's actually more female. It's more female fetuses that get aborted.
yep,
Believe it or not, they don't get a choice in it. And we have a lot of our future generation. Again, we're talking about being replaced. Our numbers. Here's the main reason too why I stand against it is that we're losing the battle. We're talking about being replaced by these refugees and immigrants coming in here. We're not reproducing at the normal levels that other groups are. If I had Pastor Childress come on and he broke those numbers down for me, you're welcome to go back and look at the video. Look up his documentary, Mafa 21, and that gives you a history. And for me personally, I've witnessed I actually saw I actually saw an abortion when I was younger, when I was a teen. Being in Catholic school, they showed it to us. I actually saw an abortion performed live, not live, but on a video that they had, and the video was called "The Silent Scream," and it was actually produced by a former abortionist named Bernard Nathanson, and he actually performed. He worked with NARAL, and they helped get laws changed in the United States. He admitted they doctored numbers to get those numbers changed because they do it all the time. Just like even with uh, the LGBTQ community when they changed homosexuality from the DSM, when that was removed, it was actually for, uh, they actually removed it, right?
Yep.
They removed it, but they didn't get they removed it out of there, but they were supposed to do research. They didn't do it.
Yeah, but they just did that because of
Fetus is still, the fetus, the fetus is still a child. You all started out as a fetus. All of us did at some point. So just remember that. Okay, it's a touchy subject. I get it, but remember, all of us came from a woman. All of us went there, so we were all vulnerable. I'm sure nobody on this channel would agree that they would agree that their mother had a choice in aborting them. That they would be happy about that. Them even entertaining that. You, Shawn?
No, I don't believe in abortion myself. I mean, I'm like this. If
I
you
mean,
don't,
everybody's entitled to their opinion. But go ahead, Shawn. I'm sorry.
I'm like, if you don't want to have children, then don't sleep with the woman. That's the or the man. I mean, I'm like this. It's some people say abortion kills children, but I say, sex creates children. You have to really think about that before you get involved with anybody.
I'm speaking factually too, Stephanie. I'm not emotional about it, but I I'll just say this, put it to you like this. Google that movie, The Silent Scream, and watch it. And I hope and that's for anybody. And you may look at it differently. But when seeing that performed, that was that changed me. I could not support that. It was a very difficult movie, but watching it, that that broke my heart. So you've heard of it? Have you heard of that, Shawn?
I haven't heard of it, but I have heard about the procedure, and it's not norm. It's not something you would want to support. Once you have seen an abortion or read about the procedure, you just wouldn't want to get with that. It's twisted.
Storm said, Judge Joe Brown said best, you can't make laws to protect people. Okay, Stephanie, don't worry. I understand. Okay, thank you for explaining that. We'll let it go. Let's go to something lighter. Man, I'm hoping I'll still have a broadcast after this. I should, but I respect your opinion. I respect it even if you disagree. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a little lighter news when crooning goes wrong. Now, I don't know who in here has heard of one ESPN anchor by the name of Sage Steele. I don't watch ESPN talking about it anymore. I've seen some, I won't lie, I've watched some of the college football games, but that's just about it. But Sage Steele recently was on the podcast of Jay Cutler's podcast, and she had some interesting things.
Fill out your census. I'm like, well, I don't know when the last time I filled out my census was, but if they make you choose a race,
yeah.
She's like, what are you gonna put? I go, well, both. She's like, well, you can't. She goes, well, what if Barack Obama chose black and he's biracial? I'm like, well, congratulations to the president. That's his thing. I go, I think that's fascinating considering his black dad was nowhere to be found, but his white mom and grandma raised him. But hey, you do you. I'm gonna do me. When you fill out your census, I'm like, well, I don't know when the last time I filled out my census was, but if they make you choose a race, what are you gonna put? I go, well, both. She's like, well, you can't. He goes, well, what about Barack Obama chose black and he's biracial? I'm like, well, congratulations to the president. That's his thing. I go, I think that's fascinating considering his black dad was nowhere to be found, but his white mom and grandma raised him. But hey, you do you. I'm gonna do me. When you fill out your census, I'm like, well, I don't know.
Now that was her on Jake Cutler's podcast. She also talked about and criticized ESPN's vaccine mandate. Oh, excuse me, injectable mandate. So
I think to mandate, I respect everyone's decision. I really do. But to mandate it is sick and it's scary to me in many ways. But I have a job. A job that I love, and frankly, a job that I need. But again, I love it. I just, I'm not surprised it got to this point, especially with Disney. I mean, a global company like. I think to me, there were some guys who, and some players in particular, who made it difficult. And if I think back on some of the things they said. But I didn't know any different. And what are you going to do? Like, I had no one to tell. And I actually didn't care, Jay. Like, and women now would probably have a problem with me not caring. Because I'm not, I mean, I get it with Me Too and all that. But at the end of the day, like, it was new. And I don't think people were malicious. They were just being stupid guys in the locker room. So I would laugh it off. And then I would ask the question anyway. I did have an opportunity to break a story once. And there was a fullback named Roosevelt Potts. And he was just, God, Rosie. He just, I remember that name. You do? Oh, I shouldn't have said it. He was, like, I had the story and he was like, actually, see, okay, scratch the name. Anyway, there were players who were like, yeah, I'll give you that information, but what are you doing tonight? Like, if you come to dinner with me, then I'll give you this. And oh, by the way, at 20, however, 24, 25, no one had to tell me that probably wasn't appropriate for me to do that. Like, then you're done. Once you're that girl in a locker room situation and with coaches and players, like, you're done. And your credibility is gone, even if you are good at your job and serious. So I had to find ways to nicely, like, blow it off, but then still ask the question. And eventually people stopped bothering me. Fine line. And I handled it. Like, I didn't get anybody, because that's not my wasn't my personality then. I might now a little more. But I do think as women, we need to be responsible as well. It isn't just on players and athletes and coaches to act a certain way. I mean, I've had talks with young women who, like, would come in and they'd intern with me, with our channel, or just other women who reach out to me now. And I've said to a couple of them, they're like, well, would you look at my tape? Would you do this? And I've said, listen, I would love to, but the way that you present yourself is not something I want to be associated with. So when you dress like that, I'm not saying you deserve the gross comments, but you know what you're doing when you're putting that outfit on too. Like, women are smart. So don't play coy and put it all on the guys when and again, I'm not saying anybody deserves anything. But we need to be responsible as women too, because we know what we're doing when we put certain things on and then return a certain text. Or you expect somebody's not going to see you if you go to dinner with this guy? Like, that's on us.
That's so true. And
has had, so that was Sage Steele. She has a history, of making racial, stupid ass remarks, I should say. And it was announced earlier today that she was pulled from ESPN for a week. She was suspended for making those comments. And she actually released a statement apologizing for her remarks. She says here, I know my recent comments created controversy for the company, and I apologize. We are in the midst of an extremely challenging time that impacts all of us. It is more critical than ever that we communicate constructively and thoughtfully. Now, first mistake that Sage did is that she went on Jay Cutler's podcast. And I don't even know if you remember Jay Cutler, but Jay Cutler, no, not a not the best quarterback per se, but he has a podcast now. He's retiring. He's retired, so he's got to make, he's doing his podcast thing now. So she goes on there and talks her talk, and yeah, it sounds like she's auditioning with a job for Fox News. But she's always made and said some ridiculous stuff. And she's okay talking about Obama. Let me say this. I didn't, and listening to those clips, I didn't think it was going to be too bad of the stuff she was saying, because some things she said, I understood what she was trying to say, like about how women are smart and they know what they're doing when they go in the workplace, and especially they go in these locker rooms trying to get something out of the coaches or players and going to dinner with them and so forth. What she's saying, yeah, I believe that part is true. That stuff does happen. Women know. You remember that episode of Martin, Shawn?
Yeah.
Where where Gina told Martin Pam's secret about how she gets a promotion from work. She wears tight clothes. And yeah, that does happen. Yeah, Jay Cutler, the wild quarterback. Yeah, he was a terrible quarterback. Smoking on the sidelines. This is what I remember about Jay. Hold on. This is what I remember about Jay Cutler. When they brought him back from the Miami Dolphins and would not let Kaepernick come in and even get a try at it. Remember this play? Hold on. Let's see if I can find that picture. Against my Saints. I remember this. Y'all see that? That's Jay Cutler. You see him at the bottom?
Yep.
Now look, everybody's lined up. So I guess he's not going to get the ball.
Don't look like it. He's not prepared. He's not ready to take that ball.
He's not interested. Not interested in playing. Right, women know. So what she was saying, she knows what they're doing. Yeah, she's absolutely correct on that. And of course, you don't blame women. You have to. It's not a blame if they get done wrong. But a lot of women know what they're doing when they go in certain situations. So I get what she's saying, and it's not a surprise how her white daddy at ESPN clapped back with her and suspended her, because ESPN, of course, owned by Disney, spoke out against the House of Mouse when you're talking about getting the injectable. And then on top of that, to make it worse, it doesn't even make it worse. You talk about race and saying how you don't identify as black. You put both, and someone said, well, Barack Obama does it. She's like, well, good for the president. And then she said something about, calling himself black after his dad, who was nowhere to be found, but being raised by her white parents, his white mother and grandmother. Of course. Go ahead, Shawn.
Basically, she thinks she's a white woman.
Of course. Look, people who are I've had Al Lanier come on, who gave his experience about being biracial. He considers it a different ethnic class of itself. Some people feel differently about being biracial. Some people identify, if you're dark in color, they will identify as black. Bob Marley dad was a white Jamaican sea captain. But Bob Marley, we know he was down with the Jamaicans. He was down with, brown people. He identified with that culture. He knew what he was when he walked out the door. Same thing with, Malcolm X. Malcolm, of course, his father wasn't white, but his mother was the product, if you remember the story, of tragically of a rape. But Malcolm would not dare call himself not black or biracial. He said he was a black male. He let you know that. He wore it on his sleeves. He wore it every day he walked out that house. But sports shows, yes, they do suck right now because of stuff like this. And Steele, she has a history of saying coonish stuff. But Shawn, what did you think of it?
I think what happened here is what happens when you bite the hand that feeds you. I mean, whenever a black bootleg speaks against their white paymasters and slave masters, what they do is they punish that person for speaking against them. And any black person who speaks against their leftist narrative, this has been what has been happening to them as of late. Now, Sage Steele made two critical mistakes. One, she spoke against the injectable narrative of her leftist paymasters. And two, she went out here and made some racial comments thinking that it would get her some brownie points. And in both cases, she was absolutely wrong because she didn't understand the subtleties of the political situation transpiring around her. And because she didn't understand the subtleties of the political situation transpiring around her, the white supremacists she worked for went out of their way to punish her for going out here and speaking against the narratives that they support. So basically, what they did was give her the pimp hand for going against their narratives. And as a bootlick, she's just learning the hard lesson of going against her slave master.
Yeah, this is a classic example, as you said, of biting the hand that feeds you. And somebody put in the chat, they said but Obama was only black by optics. I don't think he. Well, I don't think Obama. Stephanie said, I don't even know if I would say Obama chose black. I think he used black for optics for the purpose of pushing the Dems' agendas. Well, there's no doubt he pushed those agendas. He certainly did not push a black agenda for us. But Sage is basically, she's a black woman with the white woman's mindset. That's correct. Vulcan 2050. She's basically the female version of Carlton.
Yep.
You remember that classic episode of Fresh Prince where, and look, this is not about her even married to a white man or anything like that. I'm not even looking at that because people can do whatever they want. People are free to marry who they want. I have nothing against that. My preference, though, is black women. That's just me. But when that episode when Carlton says that the police were just doing their job, when he and Will got stopped for driving that Mercedes Benz for their for Uncle Phil's law partner, and he had to come get them out of jail. That classic episode, and Will is trying to explain. Oh, I never heard of the slowness limit law, breaking the slow law, but I heard of this other law. If you see a black guy being stopped by, if you see a black guy driving anything but a burnt out Pinto, you better stop him because he stole it. And I heard about that line. Carlton kept saying they were just doing their job. They're doing their job. And even Uncle Phil, when he asked Uncle Phil that question, he said, I asked myself that question the first time I was stopped. And he said, I would stop it. That's what we got.
Yeah. Not understanding what's going on here.
Yeah. So that's my preference too. Hot chocolate. Yeah. I like chocolate with a little caramel, but caramel and a little isn't bad. Hot cocoa, a little cream in it. DeAndre said, Sage Steele thought she was playing three-dimensional checkers when the game was chess.
Yep.
Yeah. Kama Sutra had, well, she's a chameleon. Chameleon Harris, because she changes her race every day. Today I heard she was a Viking. Tomorrow she'll be a Filipino. Hey, I wonder if they were listening to Tupac and Snoop during the Viking era, Shawn.
They probably were.
Yeah. So she got her moment. Yeah, you biting the hand that feeds you. Yeah, that's always a bad thing. So you work a job. I mean, people will say, well, freedom of speech. And, I don't necessarily, I'll put it to you like this. I don't necessarily believe in suspending people for their comments. I don't think she should have been suspended. But I know when you work privately for different people, they have policies. But remember what happened with Stephen A. Smith and Michelle Beadle when Michelle Beadle violated ESPN policy. And this is the bullshit too with ESPN. Even though Michelle Beadle got fired from ESPN, when she attacked Stephen A. Smith when he made those comments about Ray Rice, you probably didn't follow that. She violated company policy, but they punished Stephen A. Smith for being suspended from the show for 2 weeks for his remarks. And just because all he was saying was women have to be careful when they're around men, and especially with escalating certain situations. So they punished Sage, they punished Stephen A., but Missy Annie doesn't get punished at all. Missy Ann is okay. She can say what she wants. She can violate the rules, the policy, and get to keep her job. Not suspended at all. Look what they did with Paul Pierce when he was on NBA Countdown, and he was seen on tape sitting at his house with strippers around him on Instagram Live, and ESPN decided to fire him. He actually came out and said, F y'all, I don't need this punk ass job anyway, because I'm worth more than what you paying me. He walked off like a boss. And he got offers. I know somebody, I don't know if it was Triller or whatever group, but there was some porn website that actually wanted him to do an NBA playoff, I think an NBA TV series commentary on it while they got strippers around them or something like that. One of those apps that was starting up, which I thought was funny. And Shawn is not commenting.
No, I wasn't. I was thinking about something else. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just rambling, huh?
Yeah, I was. I don't really. I was just talking about the NBA guy who left. That happens, and he got better money. But that's what happens when you leave the system.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a multi-millionaire, so
yeah,
paying you what $450,000 for a show, or even $1 million, and you're worth $40 million. It was like,
a small change.
It's just something to keep. It's just a little pocket money.
Not anything important, but
right.
Your Sage Steels, then your other bootlegs, they get their daily bread from these white institutions, so they have to watch what they're saying when they're out here. And when they try to call themselves speaking against something, they wind up again biting that hand that feeds them. And then when that hand gets bit, it slaps people. That's what it does.
Yeah. Anybody interested, please go and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you like this channel, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. You can also please donate to the Cash App. You see the name trending with the email, gavin.g1@gmail.com. You can hit me up there, or through PayPal, same email, or Zelle at that phone number. The Cash App is GavinRichardEsq. We're about to roll on out of here because I know Shawn has to actually go, and we stayed a little bit over time. I don't know, Shawn, I may, like I said, Thursdays, I was going to do something that evening, but I don't know what your schedule is like very early that day too. If I
Yeah,
still may do a live stream early in the day, but I know that your schedule has changed now.
yeah. Because I work these days. Thursday I will I have to go to work until the app is. I'm not available until later in the evening. So
Right. That's okay. It's cool. So
it'll
maybe
be it'll be this way until about January, and then January I'll go back to the way it was.
yeah. Well, I may in the meantime I might have Brother Harvey come on and we do a live stream with him early that day because I know that evening. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might actually. I'm supposed to do something. I'm gonna try. I have to do something later that evening, but I know for a fact I want to go see the James Bond film, the new 007, No Time to Die, and do a review on it. And I will let everybody know because I've heard there's some agenda in it. Uh, did you know, Shawn? You actually did a live stream, a video about it a couple of years ago when they said the new 007 was going to be a woman.
Yeah, it was gonna be woke. That's what I thought it was gonna be.
So I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna actually be doing a movie review on it,
Well,
and
okay.
I actually got to do one on Candyman and Venom. So I'm gonna have to set a time frame and do that with for everybody. Venom actually was pretty good. Candyman had the agenda in it. Uh,
Yeah.
they had some agendas in it. It went woke, and I wonder what Bond will do. Uh, that ought to be interesting. So we'll see. But this is supposed to be Daniel Craig's last portrayal of James Bond. Did you know that the guy who plays Q, someone made an announcement, but they want to see a gay James Bond?
No thanks.
I can tell you that flat out. If that had Ben Winshaw, I believe he's homosexual because only he would make a remark like that. He actually said, God, can you imagine? I mean, it would be quite an extraordinary thing, Winshaw said about a gay Bond. Of course, I would like to see that. I really believe that we should be working towards a world where anyone can play anything, and it would be really thrilling if it didn't matter about someone's sexuality to take on this role like this. I think they would this that would be real progress
How about they just make their own gay characters?
because they know nobody will see them.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that you keep trying to force this on other characters, and people don't want to watch those characters.
Nobody. Well, here's the thing, Shawn. The character of James Bond is a straight male.
Yeah,
He's a heterosexual white male. Even to have Idris Elba and and people saying, well, we should have a black James Bond. And I remember Roger Moore actually came out and said that it shouldn't be that way. James Bond is Welsh. Uh, you know, People were upset at his remarks. He said that James Bond shouldn't be gay or black. I actually agree with him because the character Ian Fleming wrote
is a white male.
is a white male. Just the guy who played Mr. Sulu, George Takei, the last Star Trek movie that came out, Star Trek Beyond, he actually was upset with the writers of that movie because they made his character Mr. Sulu gay as a tribute to him. And the reason why he was upset with it was because him knowing who Gene Roddenberry was, he did not write a gay character. And he felt it was dishonest to his work,
Yeah.
what he did. So, and even I saw Pierce Brosnan even saying he wants a gay James Bond.
No, we don't need a gay James Bond. You can have a gay agent and call him 009,
No,
0013 or something like that. But that's
069.
not.
069.
I mean, he's another character. You can just spin it off as a franchise, as a separate franchise.
If they want to have their gay characters, I mean, they have them already.
Yeah, we have
And
them.
if you want to but they know nobody's going to support it. realistically, people don't want to see if you're a straight. The majority of people in the world, let's just be real, 95% of people worldwide, the population are straight. I'm making, even though I don't have those numbers in front of me, I just know because there are more people here on Earth.
Yeah.
Obviously they came here because two people of the opposite sex decided to link up one night, and we're here.
Yep.
And we're here. So without straight people, this population would die. Humanity would no longer exist. That's not hate. That's just true.
Yeah. What they keep trying to do is push agendas that people are not behind. I mean, you don't have the audience. The audience just isn't there.
And it's like the Eternals that's coming out. I'm not watching that.
Nope. I'm passing on that. I passed on all Marvel movies after Infinity War. I just said I'm done.
Why did you pass it after Infinity War?
The movies were repetitive. It was the same thing all the time, and the storytelling had just fallen off completely.
Well, Endgames had a agenda in it.
Yeah, that's why one of the reasons why I passed. I got tired of it, so decided to move on.
I mean, Eternals, they're gonna have it in there. It's gonna be a brother.
And it's always a black man.
Well, I don't believe he's a FBA, but nevertheless, it's somebody. I call him a brother. He's a brother. Yeah, I call him a brother. He's a brother. So the only brother in the film is gonna be sucking on man nuggets.
No thanks.
No, thank you. Angelina Jolie is in it.
More of a reason to stay away.
You don't like her?
Nope.
What about Salt? That was a good one.
Passable. That was like a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want Black. They can forget it. I'm not gonna watch it. It's bad enough that Chadwick is gone, but they're gonna still do it. I heard they want to make the girl a Black Panther.
Another no thanks.
Yeah. I stopped watching Empire after the first episode. I wasn't into it. When I saw Juicy Smouye in it, I was like, no, thank you. Musty Justy, no thanks.
Yep. No Musty Justy, smell it for me.
Yeah. And his sister Janae she's a gorgeous girl, gorgeous woman. But she's on that agenda thing too, that Democrat stuff.
Nope, no thanks for me.
Yeah. All right, Shawn, I know you got to get out of here, bud, and you stayed longer. You guys hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Shawn, why don't you do one last plug-in?
All right, my new books are now available. Stop Simping in Cyberspace is now available in paperback for you to purchase on Amazon.com right now. And you can pre-order the Kindle version, which will be available on October 25th. And my new E-Steam series book, E-Steam Cancelification, is now available on Amazon.com in paperback, and you can pre-order the Kindle book. And that Kindle will be available in November of 2021. So both of these books, Stop Simping in Cyberspace and E-Steam Cancelification, they're available in paperback right now. You can pick up the Kindle versions on for pre-order right now on Amazon.com.
Byron B says, I hope we don't get a moist. It's not going to be 007. It's going to be 069. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. The Bond theme song going to change. It's going to have, it's going to be a disco version, like from The Spy Who Loved Me. Y'all have RuPaul doing the soundtrack. Gold Digger. It's the one with the Midas touch. Shawn's trying to laugh. I'm gonna get him. I'll do a commentary on Venom and stuff. But yeah, Shawn, I know you got to run, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for that. And you guys check out Shawn's books. Also, I'll let you all know when my latest book will be released. I got to do some trailers for it, promotions on it. So that is coming. And also, I want you to please subscribe to this channel if you have not. Hit that like, share, and subscribe if you like the live stream. Also, donate to the Cash App. You know, this video is not monetized. You know, YouTube took away its monetization, but with your support, I can continue to grow and continue to make videos like this. You guys be safe and be blessed. I'm also going to upload another video. Another video I had uploaded, there was some audio errors with my Denzel analysis. Denzel versus Dr. Meredith Grey. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. Phantom Beat, man, I'm gonna kill you. Oh God, yeah, Sean Connery would roll over in his grave if he heard this. Annie and Fleming. All right, guys. In the meantime, please check out Nani's Creole Seasoning Blends. Nani'sCreoleBlends.com. That's the link for our website. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nani's goes great with every dish. Also, if you like to advertise with the channel, you can hit my email. You can hit the Patreon to support premium content. You can also check out our latest singles video soul that's available on Spotify. And also, guys, you can gotta get on up, which is available on Apple, Spotify, and iTunes. And as always, since we've gotten down, it's time now to get on up. So you guys be safe and be blessed. Shawn, thank you once again.
Thank you for having me on.
All right. Bossa Queenie says, got my Nani Creole blend. It is good. Yes, indeed. I appreciate it. We're going to have that in stores. I'm starting to put it in stores actually sometime this month. We're going to have our local, be at one of the local stores here in, I believe, across the river, across the West Bank. I'll let y'all know where officially. And until that time, you guys be safe and be blessed. Out of this one, Shawn, thank you once again. And good night, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you. One love.
Have a good night.
Where's the video?
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll meet.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor.
Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.